We're an insurance broker licensed in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia, and we have 4 locations across Alberta. We had an internal IT person for some time. We were running everything internally. We had servers in-house which we were maintaining, and one full-time person servicing our 4 different locations across Alberta, and it just became a bit more of a job than a single person could handle, and so I guess we started looking for a managed service provider, kind of around, I think it was must have been about 5 years ago, something like that. We started looking for a managed service provider, and I guess we were just looking at some of the benefits that we thought we might get out of it were a more structured method of handling IT requests, and just a better way of organizing how the critical requests get handled. That we've seen since starting up with Kieran is it's really the structure and organization of handling the ticket requests, and ensuring that the requests get that they all get handled. That things don't fall by the wayside. One of the things that we were a little bit worried about is not having somebody actually on site to handle the hands-on type of things that need to be done. But we were actually pleasantly surprised when those things came up, and most of them were able to be handled either remotely or through a technician coming out. And we were worried about the timing on having technicians having to come out, but it hasn't been that bad at all. About a year before COVID, we started, our reps at Kieran started talking to us about some of the benefits of moving our internal systems outside and putting them on an external network. So in those talks, it was about 4 months before people started having to go home, we completed a project of moving all of our internal server stuff to the cloud, and so because of that, when COVID came up, we were actually we got a hold of the techs at Kieran, and from a security standpoint, they were saying, well, best thing to do is to have the staff bring their hardware home and plug it in, and because we had completed this project of moving on to cloud networks, we had literally zero downtime. We were able to tell the staff one day, okay, we're going to move to working from home. Take your computers, plug them into your internet, and boot them up. And we had people answering the phones at 8:30 the next morning. So when you're dealing with a lot of personal client information, there's always risk that there may be a cyber exposure there. We've put a number of things in place at the suggestion of Kieran Networks that have kind of eased our minds on that. we were able to put in a two-factor authentication on for all of our users, and in moving to remote servers, I think it has increased our security by quite a bit. Yeah, one thing that I really like about working with you guys is that there's this level of transparency in the relationship that I find pretty valuable. So we'll in our quarterly business reviews, we sit down and go through what's going on with each of our organizations, so that you guys know what's going on with us, we know what's going on with you, and go through some of the things the projects that we were completing from last year, from an IT perspective, and some of the things that we want to look at for next year, and some of the things that you guys are suggesting that we take a closer look at for next year. And it's nice having a bit of a structured plan that way, that we don't necessarily have to develop ourselves. We're definitely able to communicate with them as we need to. I'm in my position. I'm a bit of a liaison with the larger IT issues, the more global things that come up. So I do a lot of communications with the with the project leaders and things like that, and it's pretty easy, I think, to get on the same page. There's definitely an understanding of the business problems that we're experiencing. Actually, one of the big wins for us over even the last couple months is we have you had mentioned earlier, we deal with a lot of personal data, and it's very important to us that this data is secure, and it's also very important to our partners that this data remains secure, and some of our vendors. So as part of some of our contracts, we're subject to occasional audits on privacy and security from a cyber perspective. So just a couple months ago, we went through an audit with one of our vendors on this, and I was able to speak with Richard and the team over there, and they were they're sympathetic to our plight, because going through an audit isn't always easy, especially when you don't understand all of the things that they're asking. And they were turning around information and proof for me within a matter of hours on things, and I was actually able to come out and say that, well, we're already exceeding these certain expectations that were required by the auditors, and as a result of some of the things we've been putting in place that Kieran suggested. I think that the type of business that would fit well, or the type of owner that might enjoy the vendor relationship you get with Kieran, it would be a relationship-minded owner or leadership team. If you don't, it's the whole point of this is not to be hands-on with it, but you still need to know what's going on, and that your data is safe, and that your staff are going to be able to perform their jobs without having to struggle with IT issues. So for me, the relationship has been really good, and there's a level of trust there between both parties. So I guess what I'm saying is somebody who really values the vendor relationship. As an insurance broker, I think that our business has got a few complexities that maybe some other businesses don't. I think that Kieran understands those very well. I know that the documentation is quite robust on the Armour documentation is maybe a little bit bigger than some of the other documentation that you guys have. But some of the proprietary software and systems that we use, I think you call up and speak with the tech, and they're familiar with it. Kieran is definitely more focused on the, I guess I don't say more focused, but Kieran is definitely focused on long-term strategy. You see that in the QBRs that we have, in the annual planning that we do. That's kind of one of the things I didn't expect from an MSP relationship is the annual planning, but of course that you need to do that. There's licenses that come up, there's expenses that you need to plan for, and knowing about them a year ahead of time is better than finding out a month before the license is up. I know that in the past, when there has been issues with timeliness of things getting addressed, I've spoken to the owners and to the team leads over there, and if they're very transparent about what the reasons are, if there's staff turnover, if there's this or that going on, so that's great. The regular meetings offer tremendous value for us. It's all about being able to plan things in advance. If we weren't having those regular meetings with Kieran, we wouldn't have undertaken the project to move away from local hosting, and it wouldn't have enabled us to transition to working from home during COVID as easily as we did. That particular project, we had trepidations about doing it, but honestly, in those meetings, I remember 2 separate meetings. The Kieran crew really pushed for us to do it. They thought it was very important for us to do it, and were able to communicate to us that it was important, and that's why we decided to do it, and that's what enabled us to transition so quickly when we had to move people home.